Hello, everybody. It's Stu Smith and Jeff Nichols, and we are back with a tactical fitness report. Jeff making me smarter, and I'm making Jeff nicer, as as, as somebody
That's
told
a
me.
great trade-off. I'm not sure it's totally true. I'm trying.
Somebody told me that. I said, "Hey, you know what? I don't claim to be the smartest person in the room ever." So,
My cats are far smarter than me. So we'll
so,
go with that.
so anyway, we're going to discuss sleep. And both Jeff and I got a couple of pretty common emails that we get, and it kind of sparked a conversation. Jeff has one that he's going to discuss, and then I'll follow up with mine. So, Jeff, take it away.
Yeah, one of the common ones is, and we're trying to, this one's about sleep, but I think we wanted to kind of structure it, the question, or like that topic into question that's common. I think it resonate better with many of you. So we'll use like a police officer that's on third shift here in Virginia Beach for Chesapeake or whatever. And, that third shift is midnight to 8. And so a lot of the common questions are like, okay, pertaining to sleep and training, well, hey, Jeff, hey, Stu, when do you suggest I train? When do I eat? And Stu and I both agree that we would suggest that you treat it like really kind of any other work time. It's, and I think that third shift has potentially a unique aspect of where you're not going to lose a lot of family time potentially, right?
Yeah.
If you do it right. I mean, you will. You're going to lose some family time, but that window to train for me is usually before. To me, if I was on a swing shift, right, like that, I would be training before I go to work.
Yeah.
So my timeline, if my shift starts at midnight, basically my me time, my training and get my meals ready for my shift is basically 10 to midnight, something like that. Because I don't want to depend on trying to get my workout in, especially if I'm law enforcement, where it's like, in this case happened to this very particular person, where her shift is supposed to end at 8, but because of the lifestyle that something happened, right? She, right, whether it's responding to a homicide or a speeding ticket, that 8 a.m. is a soft end time,
Yeah.
right? It might take her all the way to 10 a.m. to get paperwork and such done. Well, then my priority, training's gone out the window. Priority becomes sleep.
Yeah.
So that's why Stu and I are suggesting, hey, get the training out of the way, especially for that third shift, because hopefully if you have 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 10-year-old kids, they're probably not awake from 10 to midnight, right? So that for me is kind of like, I'm thinking is like, if I was on third shift, well, shoot, my son's in bed by 9:30.
Yeah.
I'm not missing family time with him.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Other than just, trying to figure out when you're going to sleep.
Yeah.
He might have to do that when you come immediately back home. That's what I tend to do.
That's why I'm looking at the time on the back of it. I get off at 8. I can be in bed probably by 9:30 a.m., something like that.
Yeah.
Once I've eaten something.
While they're at school.
Yep. Yeah. So I'll be in bed until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now I'm awake when they're out of school.
Yep.
And now I'm going to be, hell, I might even be able to get a workout in with my kids that get old enough, or like,
sure,
at times, like, hey, they got an hour, they got to do homework, and it's like they don't need my help. I might be able to get a workout in.
Yeah. So here's the big thing: is sleeping during the day. That's pretty difficult, right? Our bodies aren't really designed to do that, so we have to do really well at making our room dark. Right? Our body really needs to think that it is nighttime. So whether that is a mask over your eyes, or that's completely blacking out your windows, just so you can sleep in a dark room. That for me is number one.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Because you also want to think when you're simulating darkness, right, at nighttime, that's when the temperature falls.
Yep.
At night, right? In the outside. And it doesn't matter where you're at. Summer, winter, desert, mountain, doesn't matter. When the sun goes down, it gets cold. So also when you go to you're sleeping during the day, absolutely eye pillow. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. And don't get one that doesn't fit. Like, if you buy one that doesn't fit, you keep buying one until you're like, this thing's comfortable. Because they make ones that are like, they're weighted and they have lavender in them, and they make all sorts of eye pillows.
Yeah.
Get one that's comfortable, right? Get one you're like, I would like almost look forward to putting it on.
Oh, yeah.
And then drop the temperature. Like, I don't care if it's 85 or 105 degrees outside. Like, well, the AC is going to, who cares?
Yeah,
Get the AC pump in the middle of the
sleep.
afternoon, drop the temperature, turn fans on, whatever it is in your room, because we want to simulate real darkness, not just with turning the lights off, but temperature, right, is important.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I remember when we were going through some advanced operator training and diving, we do like this 6-week cycle of night dives, and we'd come in at 8 o'clock at night, and we would pre-dive, do all that stuff, do a workout, probably start diving about midnight. Now these are SDVs, so these were long ass dives. So we'd be diving from midnight to like 4 or 5.
Not a 3 hour dive, like 10,
like,
12, 8, 15.
we were lucky. These were like 5-6 hour dives, which still sucked. But we'd be done. We'd clean everything up, and then we'd be out of there again. It made for a long day. It's probably about 12 hours at work, but it's kind of typical. But it worked for that cycle, worked really well because we got to work out before we dive. We dive all night, so you're pretty active. So you just ate a big ass breakfast first thing in the morning and just go to sleep.
Yeah, it's eat a huge meal.
Yeah.
Hit the shower, because again, that's the same thing as we want your body temperature to drop too. Yep. So if you turn your AC down, so this is kind of how it works in my house. Again, because I'm weird like this. When it's time for me to go shower, I don't want the room super cold. I want to use my evaporation time after the shower for me to cool down. That's going to kind of catapult me into REM.
That's a good point.
Turn my temperature down in my room, have a shower, 10-minute shower, whatever it may be. By the time I'm getting out, the temperature of the room is starting to drop because AC has been on while I'm in the shower. I'm drying off, brush my teeth, whatever I am. Now 20, 30 minutes has transpired. The room temperature has begun to drop. So then I get into bed, I'm going to evaporate, my body temperature is going to drop, coinciding with the room temperature dropping. It will prompt REM sleep.
There you go.
There's a real kind of sort of, and that's what I mean is like, we're past the point of happenstance and chance. We can really hack the body if it's thoughtful, right? What I mean by thoughtful is like, oh my God, I got to get to bed. No. Like I said, take your time, get some food while you're having food, watch TV, unwind, do whatever it takes.
Yep.
Right? Spend that 30, 40 minutes at home like, right? Go have your shower, enjoy the shower, get into bed, eye pillow on, you're off.
Yep. Now, I will say this, there is always one of those it depends. Yeah. Because the scenario I just stated, my body temperature was down low already right after a 5-6 hour dive. I was freezing my ass off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. So even a warm shower felt hot, In fact, I remember just like, playing around with it. It's like cold and okay, that feels warm now. My body was not really adapting. So my thing was I got under all the comforters that I could get under, and I still didn't sweat. I put on watch caps. I put on gloves. I put on sweatshirts, especially if you're doing cold dives at Buds in the winter. I mean, I went through dive phase in the winter, and that's probably the coldest I've ever been at Buzz. That was colder than Hell Week and, all that. And I just remember getting under all of my covers and comforter, and I still didn't even break a sweat by the time morning came. So, there are ways where you obviously got to get your body temperature back up to normal.
100%.
In those situations.
I couldn't agree more. Like when you're cold, when you're really genuinely cold, cover up. Like that's what we're saying. When I'm saying body temperature drop, I'm talking like 0.3 degrees.
Yeah.
Maybe if the room is really cold and whatever reason, like maybe your body temperature drops 0.7, maybe.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what the indicator, one of those indicators of getting in a REM is you see a body temperature drop, and that's why it coincides, that temperature, for whatever reason, I don't know the biology of it.
Sure. When
the temperature drops a little bit, boop, you go into REM. It's that's one of the catalysts for it. So it's really cool if you track like on your your tracker, when you're seeing you're hitting REM, if you have like, that's why I like the Aura, because it coincides my body temperature with the REM.
That's cool. Yeah.
So, and that's again one of those, like, it's like, how do I know I'm in a flow state? A lot of times you're yawning, right? Or you're salivating, excuse me. So anyway, this is kind of the sleeping equivalent of salivation as your body temperature drops.
Yeah, that's a real good one. So I think we got the night shift covered. So let's handle the other one, part 2 of this question, which is very common. And it's for all you young bucks out there that are preparing for some selection program, buds, SFS, SFAS, whatever the selection program that is out there, and you're kicking yourself in the butt to get in really good shape, right? To be able to handle, have that kind of work capacity and durability that you need to be able to meet all the standards and endure, the beat down that's coming. However, you're also young, probably turned 21, 22, having a good time in, post high school, college life. And you're probably burning the candle at both ends, whether it's staying up night late studying, or it's out partying, or it's a combo of both, or even worse, it's a combination of all three. So that's when you're going to start seeing things start falling apart a little bit, when you're working this hard, and then you're also out partying, 2-3 nights in a week. So how do you, what's the best way to recover from that as a young age? What should we do? There you go.
Right. Yeah, that's the big depends, or like it's like the big mess.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: is I am a believer in experiences and kind of having a college experience to a degree. Like I do believe that. Like I would say that I balanced it pretty well. I was a pretty strict college student myself, but it didn't not be a college student at times. You know what I mean? That's really what it comes down to. Is if one aspect of those three lanes, really the two, it's like what's your social life and your school life, like your study life look like. If one of those two things is impeding the other, well, then one's got to become the priority.
There you go.
Your grades are extremely important, not for the sake of like, oh my God, yes, let's pass this. So we can put college behind us. That's what I mean. Just be an adult, get your grades up, keep them up, get through college. That's fine. Then that's where it becomes a hard argument. Like, let's say you're training well and you're balancing a social life, and the balance is like, well, look at the grades. The grades are good. So how bad is it? Well, I also look at it and go, if a person can have that much, like in two things, like it's often one of two. Someone is so focused on their training that it takes away from school life and whatever. It's like, or they some part of it. Well, I look at it and I go, well, that's generally the case. People aren't skimping on their training. What I did internally is like, I just looked at school and life as the same sort of competition. I was like, well, if I'm gonna put this much heart and effort into my training, I should probably try and reciprocate it and put similar effort into my schoolwork. And I'm glad that I did. It made school way easier. I just showed up every day, paid attention, took notes. What a concept.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a job to do. You know, it's to finish school, but it's also in preparation for your next job. Right. And
look at it that way. It's a job. You have a commitment to get your ass out of bed, go to school for very little time. Honestly.
Yeah.
For those of us who didn't do college.
It's easier in high school.
So even for you, Stu, or like it's like for Stu Smith, who was a graduate of the Naval Academy, to say, yeah, college is like, I had it easy in college. I didn't have to round off when I was eating. I didn't have to wear a uniform, none of that. But it's like, all that being equal, though, you realize it just comes down to managing your time and putting in real effort equally.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, you don't get behind. It's like, there's a ton of effort up front, but once you become a responsible college student, then you can be everything. Then you can go out at times and not sacrifice grades or your training. And that's what we're suggesting. You don't have to live like a robot.
No, absolutely not. You should be having fun. I mean, you're young too. Now, the beauty about being late teenage, early 20s is your recovery time is so much better. Now, as you age and you get into your later 20s, early 30s, and your 40s, you're going to have to really focus on your recovery time. But here's the deal. When you are training so hard at a very hard level, whether it is pre-spec ops level, it's D1 athlete level, it's, you have goals for professional athletics or, Olympics, type of level of activity, that is when your recovery matters, no matter what your age is, because you're
Yes.
putting your body to a maximum effort, trying to reach optimal, and you won't reach optimal unless you are fully recovered. You will see a downward process of your grades, of your scores, of everything if you miss out on sleep.
You bet.
Right.
Yeah, we kind of, yesterday we talked about how food kind of fits into categories. If someone's trying to gain weight or whatever, it's like, maybe that was an Instagram live, but I was saying like, if you're 150 pounds, you're eating more calories, not just get heavier, but it's like for those, and I'm picking an arbitrary weight, just bear with me, but it's like when we forget, this goes right into workout, put in calorie intake. It's like, if you're 150, you want to put on 10 pounds. When you're not only eating for what you weigh, you're eating for the activity, right? You working your ass off every day. You got to replenish that tank too, kind of.
Absolutely.
And then you got to I got to have reserves. Not only got to heal myself and I got to function, right? Those are my two reservoirs. Now I've got to heal beyond function and healing. I've got to consume. And so training is kind of that same way. But if you bite off more than you can recover from, you're just always kind of in regression. And that's what we're trying to say is like the best way to get you all training as hard as you want. Like that's Stu and I are trying to get you to give you these tools so you can train as hard as you want, right? Within reason.
Yes.
Like that's our goal. It's not like follow our regimen, rest all the time. We're like, no, bust your ass. And that's what our programs reflect. But you're able to do that through our programs if you're sleeping and eating, because we don't have control over that at all.
That is true.
We're not writing programs for how you sleep and how you eat.
Right. And you feel like you're falling off of your sleep, you should pull back a little bit, pull back on the reins, because
100%.
There are days where you can slow things down just a little bit and recover for the next day and have a much better workout.
Yep.
And pushing through, a day after a night of no sleep. But I will tell you this, one thing that these little Whoop bands show you is that, if you go out and, just go get torn up, right, and just drink, it will show you how crappy your sleep is.
Yep.
The next day.
Yeah.
You might be in bed for 8-9 hours, right? Yeah. But your heart rate and body
temperature, everything is going to be your metabolism is going to be have one thing in mind: get this alcohol out of my blood.
Yeah, you're going to have so many disruptions. Right? Yeah.
Essentially, I'm not trying to be melodramatic. I'm trying to be literal. I'm saying, are you poisoning yourself to death? Not necessarily. But essentially, that's what you've done. You've introduced alcohol, OH minus, into your system as much as like in a crazy high volume. Your body's got to get rid of it. And it's going to do it through other means other than urination and defecation because it's an OH minus, because alcohol, it will get into your bloodstream.
Yeah.
It's not just being digested through your intestines. It's in your blood. And you can't just get stuff out of your blood. It's got to pump and pump and pump for days. And your liver's got to filter that shit.
Yeah, and it gets into your brain, and it's going to
100%. It passes the blood-brain barrier.
And you don't sleep. You don't sleep when you're drunk.
No.
So you just wasted a whole night of potential recovery. Let's say you hit a real Friday afternoon. Yeah, a killer workout on Friday. You just busted your ass all week, and you go blow some steam off on Friday night and Saturday. Well, you just ruined 2 nights of recovery.
Yeah.
And then Sunday you feel like crap. And now you're wondering why you're like, oh God, it's Monday tomorrow, and you're hating life.
You spent the entire weekend trying to recover from something that not only would just put you in a deficit in and of itself,
yes,
but because of your training really hard, your body is starving for more nutrients, more sleep, more recovery. And not only did you deprive it of what it needed, you introduced, in a sense, a poison to your body to say, oh, you didn't have enough challenge because I just been training and training hard. Now here's a real challenge that you can't overcome. Here's some alcohol.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. So, that's, like I said, the big thing about we wanted to do this one was, sleep is important no matter where you're burning the candle, whether you're burning the candle at work or you're burning the candle socially, it requires you to be able to get some sleep, whether that's sleeping in the day fully, it's taking naps in between classes if you can, sleeping a full 6-7 hours, somewhere in there, is highly recommended if you have to squeeze in a nap to get that 6th or 7th hour.
Yeah, what an interesting concept if you're a college student and you spend the weekends like you do at Buds. Well, like most people at Buds spend their weekends sleeping, eating, getting ready for Monday. To make Monday is transitional. I would say easy is not the word, but as transitional as possible. And that's across the board. It's like whether you go to a police academy here in Virginia, like Sunday is prep day for Monday, right? So college puts you in this parochial institution that you're going to encounter when you get in the military. So why not use those left and right flanks to just kind of reformulate what you think you might are going to encounter? That was like one of the biggest blessings for me is when I became an actual strength coach in college. My first, the first thing that the strength coach, Richard Shaughnessy, had me do is like, oh, good. I don't have to get up for Air Force ROTC at 5 a.m. You have to be there at 5 a.m. So as a college student, my last 2.5 years in college, I was up like you. So I was up every morning at 4 a.m.
Nice.
Because I had to be, because Army ROTC did it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Air Force ROTC was Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Yeah.
So I was in the gym in the mornings at 5:30 in the morning on Saturdays.
Nice.
As a college student. So it's like, and then the lineman came in at 6 a.m. So Coach Shaughnessy was awesome because, he'd been a strength coach there and still is. Like for at that point, like 14 years, like dude had earned it. Right? I'm opening the gym for the lineman, offensive defense lineman at 6 a.m. for the workout. He comes cruising in like at 6:02, right? Just like, I'm here. Like, damn. Like, so that was like, it was a blessing for me because when I went off to Navy boot camp in Buds, it was like, oh, you have a 5 a.m. run? Oh, cool. I've already been up since 4.
Yeah. You acclimated very well to that timeline.
Yeah, I was already used to it. Yeah.
That matters.
I mean, that's what you is like going from the Naval Academy to Buds. You're like, and that's a difficult thing is because Buds in itself is this military monster that people are still trying to figure out.
Sure.
You did 4 years of essentially military service before it was official.
Yeah.
You were very used to probably to some, and compared to 18-year-old kids that go away from home the first time, they're like at boot camp and they're just like, oh my God, they show up at Buds and like, holy crap, what is this?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. You know what? I remember the first week of Buds being like, okay, this was what I expected. It was tough. At the end of the day, though, I remember saying to myself, wait a second. I don't need to study. I don't need to go work out, after, my day is done, so
free time.
It's 5 o'clock in the evening and I'm done. I was like, this is awesome.
I had the same thing. It's like, wait a minute. Like the day is over. Like the part of the day is like, we're going to jog to the cafeteria together. I'm going to eat as much food as I want. I don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go home and I don't know. What am I going to do?
Stretch, watch some TV.
That's what I did.
Polish my boots.
A lot of movies.
Polish my boots.
Talked to a lot of people. Stayed warm. I lived in hoodies and sweatpants.
Oh, yeah. You definitely want to put the warm clothes on.
Yeah.
So anyway, acclimate yourself to this stuff. And, if you're staying up all night, sleep in the day, right? But there are ways to do that. And if you're, burning the candle at both ends, whether that's work or play, you got to take your sleep seriously. Otherwise, you will start seeing negative results.
Yeah, we're not just picking on college students because I'm certainly aware of that when men and women get through these selection courses, we act like kids a lot of times anyway. And that's where we're really talking to that population too.
Absolutely.
You're in the community for a while and you want to burn off some steam.
Yeah.
I would find other ways of doing it rather than other non-productive substances you can introduce to your biology.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Yeah, be the designated driver. Go out, have fun, but be the designated driver if you want to be smart about it. So.
Drink a protein shake.
Yeah. All right. So, Jeff, thank you again for doing another one of these shows. I think this was a good one. So I appreciate your time and expertise as always.
You betcha.
All right.
Do it again.
We'll see you guys.